Hey, what's up, guys? We're going to be finishing off this series, finally polishing off JAEDONG versus Fantasy. It's been a heck of a ride so far. Looking forward to another great addition here. We're starting off on Nemesis. Cross map positions. This is quite an interesting map. We've seen some good matches here, but mostly we've seen JAEDONG down here in the bottom right and Fantasy in the bottom left, which is a little bit better for the Fantasy push overall, I'd say. That Valkyrie plus tank push that he has kind of trademarked here, his style, since coming back to Broodwar. I don't know if it's going to do well in cross map because there's a lot more space to cover in the middle of the map. It's going to leave a lot of options open for JAEDONG for counterattacks, for picking off tanks with Mutalisk, and of course, for putting out some hold position lurkers as well, which is the big downside of doing an attack like that with the Valkyrie play, because you don't have any vessels out on the map. You're going to be reliant on scans, and if you're this far away, I don't know if you can scan all the way across the map and reach the natural without leaving some areas uncovered here. So we'll see if Fantasy wants to give that a try here once again, or is he going to go for something a little bit less risky? Because that, I think, would be quite a serious risk to go for that build here on cross map. Now we've got spawning pool down. It's popped right after the hatchery here, so fair amount of respect being shown by Bisu, even though he went for that earlier hatchery. He went for the regular timed hatchery at the 12 hatchery, immediately throwing down the pool. Sometimes we'll see more drones be built because you're gonna have some larvae here waiting after you throw down the hatch. It's tempting to build a couple more larvae, or build a couple more larvae into drones and then get your spawning pool, but he's gonna get that spawning pool right away here. We've got an SCV coming across the map. No gas here for Fantasy, just a wall at the front. Marine is tight behind that wall, or is behind that tight wall, I should say. The command center is on the way here. Third base immediately from JAEDONG. Oh, I was wondering about this later gas. I thought maybe we were going to just see a regular 3-hatch play here out of JAEDONG, but looks like he's going to mix things up. Going to go for that pretty quick 3-hatch play. Here on Nemesis, it's very, very doable because you only have this one entrance to start, and you can pretty easily pick off these assimilators with your early lings. All you need to do is get over here and kill those, and you will have an island location here at the center right, which the Terran can't touch until they get some drop ships or they try to come around the top side. You can also kill those assimilators as well. You can kill your eggs here. It's like not going to be starting that just yet here. JAEDONG waiting for the SCV to make its move over here towards the center right. Looks like he's caught that vision of that with his Overlord. You saw that SCV was pulling away now, and he's gonna bring those links back to the front. Doesn't have too much vision on the map. He could be facing down, you know, a really quick Marine push out here, because that's something that Fantasy really does like to do. But looks like Fantasy not gonna do that this time. Nice catch there with the Ling getting some extra hits on that SCV. SCV does manage to slip into the main. I won't see too much here. You know what? I actually like this play from JAEDONG. We've seen this before against Fantasy. Actually, on the channel, we saw Calm versus Fantasy, where Calm just went for a base like this at one of the islands, and then he immediately went over and took another island. Went into Hive super quick and tried to get into Ultralisk right off the bat. I won't reveal what happened in that game, but this is really reminiscent of that. We haven't seen another drone get sent out just yet, but I wouldn't be too shocked to see that coming through. Fantasy doing something pretty smart. He's killing off his back assimilators here right off the bat. So closing off the access to the back of his base That's going to mean he's going to focus all of his attention with defense towards his front here. Cleaning off this assimilator as well. He's making sure that Lurker can no longer go through here, but Marines and Medics, they still can. So that's very interesting. Making that adjustment there. We've got a science facility on the way here. So actually a very interesting build coming out of Fantasy here, who went for the early command center and then went straight into 1111. He went barracks, one barracks, factories, starport, and then right into science facility. Now he's getting his engineering bay down. We've got Lings out here on the map. The first scan goes down. He sees the spire in the main is just about complete. These metas are a little bit later than a regular 2 hatch. That's because this third base is already up. And with that 3 gas going, they're gonna have a lot more oomph behind them. So looking forward to seeing JAEDONG out on this map, dealing some damage. Looks like Simulator gonna be going down here at the back. He's gonna kill both. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect him to kill both. Now he doesn't really have, Fantasy doesn't have a good location to take his third base. Like, where do you take a third base now? You're not really gonna take it over here because you blocked off these. You're not gonna take it here. Where are you actually gonna take it? Try to take a base up here or here? Questionable decision to kill both of those, but we'll see how it turns out. Starport's pumping out that very first science vessel. But a few meters heading across the map here. Gonna be grouping up. JAEDONG gonna start to get some harassment going here at this natural. There are a couple of locations where you can hit, and actually there's only 2 turrets here right now, so he can come in and hit these SCVs and only get hit by a couple of turrets. This turret's barely gonna fire at all, and we're already losing quite a few of these SCVs here. Oh, excuse me. SCVs are going down like crazy, and there it is. 4th base is going down right now. Very, very interesting. JAEDONG taking a page out of Calm's book here. It's gonna be getting his evolution chamber rolling right now. Marines heading up onto that high ground. The hive is on the way as well, so he will indeed be going for this play, this crazy Zerg play, and we'll see if once he's spotted this, will Fantasy be using the same strategy he pulled out against Calm, or does he have something better in mind for this? Eggs are going to be taken out here. He's opening up a path into the center left, but he must know by now that this is actually broken off, so he can't go through there. Can't get up into the natural through that location. He's going to rotate. JAEDONG is maybe kill off some eggs, possibly up over here, or just check up here. I'm not sure where these Lings are going right now. Maybe just checking for an additional base. Killing off the assimilators here is a great idea. Getting rid of those means he can't get through. He's already killed these assimilators over here. So blocking off his bases in all these different locations means he's only going to have 1 defensive position. And that's going to be right here in the natural. And with all these lurkers popping out now, it's going to be very tough to break through this. He's going to stack them all up as well. With the Queen's Nest out there in the front, this is going to be so hard to get through. Little special forces group here heading over towards the center right. Gonna stim up, try to get this Overlord. Looks like he may get it. Does indeed finish that off. Tank is out. So 1 starport, 1 factory production here right now. 4 barracks. This is all very normal for this type of opener. It's gonna give him a lot of opportunity to pressure, but he's not gonna have, oh damn, losing that 1 vessel is so painful here. He's only producing off of 1 starport, so that's really bad for Fantasy. I was gonna say this gives him some room to maneuver here in the early mid game, but as the mid game rolls around, and we're not gonna have that really high vessel count anymore, and especially after losing one of the first few, you're really not gonna have too many vessels to work with. So I'm a little bit scared here for Fantasy as he comes up towards the natural. Can he actually make any headway here? Gonna spread these lurkers out now. Doesn't want to lose a bunch of them to the splash damage. Flying in, he wants to tank some damage so he could possibly snipe a vessel, but now coming in on top of the Queen's Nest here, some lurkers gonna run up this ramp. More lurkers popping through the Nidus. This is still going to be a tough position to break through, but the tanks are getting some big kills here. He's going to try and dive once again, not able to get one of those science vessels. Oh god, Mutas running in for free. Not a good look here for JAEDONG, running up towards the top side of this. There's the Defiler, has just popped out. Does it have enough energy? No, it does not. It's going to throw down a Dark Swarm, but it looks like we're going to lose the Nidus Canal here and the Nidus Canal here, and nothing left in the natural. Just one lurker going to come running up here, try to clear this. Oh man, this is brutal. So much damage here from Fantasy. Going on to JAEDONG right now. He's going to shove this back. With the lurker burrowing under Dark Swarm, he will eventually kill all of these Marines, but critical damage has been done to the front of this base. We're going to be losing so many Defilers and Lurkers to these Irradiates over and over again, and 3 tanks are still sitting here, chilling at this location, at the front, at the natural. More Lurkers are going to come up and try to burrow. Dark Swarm can now come out, so he should be able to push everything back now. But it's still very hard. Running forward here with the Marines, going to run past these Lurkers once again. May end up just losing all the Marines there on that high ground. Lurker's gonna run forward once again. Nope, they burrow underneath the Dark Storm. Just gonna hold position for now. Do we have a Ultralisk Cavern? I don't see one just yet. Another Nidus is coming down. He's gonna start to reattach these Niduses around the map. Going after some more Science Vessels. He gets one. Could come in and get another Science Vessel here. There's not enough Marines protecting these. He does get another, so this is some good things happening right now for Fantasy. He's gonna run up with his Dark Swarm and his Lurkers, getting on top of these tanks, forcing everything back. Another base gonna go up here in the top right-hand corner. Fantasy finally taking another location here. It's gonna be that top right. As I said before, it's gonna be difficult to hold on to one of these locations, but he's gonna try for it. See if he can keep this base alive right now, as JAEDONG kind of licks his wounds and puts his army back together, reattaches those Nidus networks, and gets his economy flowing once again. Has a pretty significant drone count at the moment, and we don't see any drops to follow this up. So one thing that can be really powerful with Terran is right after you kill those Nidus networks, if you have some drop ships coming, load up and land in one of these bases, and there's just no feasible way for the Zerg player to defend them without those Nidus connections. But unfortunately for Fantasy, we didn't have that as an option. He's still got this nice little roaming army here, but things are getting dangerous now. I think we have Plague completed, and we're actually getting the Metasynaptic node, that Defiler upgrade, so he can start to plague these groups of units as well. But some of these vessels are going to come forward and get that Irradiate off. Nicely done. He does lose a Science Vessel for that, but that's fine. He gets a few more Irradiates here and pushes everything back once again. JAEDONG just kind of barely holding on right now, mostly due to the fact that you can't actually attack into any of these bases unless you go for dropships. So JAEDONG, you know, just having to hold off here in the natural has bought him a lot of leeway here to get these things up and running once again. He's got his +2 upgrade just about finished. That +2 armor upgrade is super important. +3 is on the way here for Fantasy. So there's going to be a short period of time here where actually Fantasy's upgrades are going to be even to the JAEDONG upgrades. The Fantasy attack upgrades are going to be equal to the JAEDONG defense upgrades, and that'll be an important moment for JAEDONG. We'll see how he does with this next attack. He's actually coming forward. He's going to look for a big plague. We don't have it just yet, but he gets a few great hits on some of these science vessels here. Very nicely done, picking off quite a few of those. The Marines over here at the top side, I don't know what these Lurkers are doing here. They're just kind of chilling out over at this location. We can't actually get through here anymore, so no point in killing those eggs. Another base over here at the top right has been taken for Fantasy. He's really spreading out right now. Here comes the drops. Drops are finally going to come through and try to hit this bottom center. Bottom center, can he actually see this right now? I think he can. Yeah, he does with that Overlord there. He's going to lose the Nidus Network most likely. Nidus Network super, super low, but it survives on 14 HP. Big, big moment here. There we go. He does actually pick that off in the end. So managing to get rid of that is actually a big deal. However, it looks like this drop is going to go down. He only gets one Marine out of that. That was a full drop ship, and everything else is going to be lost. Marines are going to be picked off. Medics will be going down as well. Army moving here towards the front. It looks like JAEDONG is just going full-on Defiler Hydra here, which is very interesting. Darkstorm going to come down. Running on by here. He's going to try and snipe this Nidus Canal. Now, one thing that did just happen that is actually a very big deal is when that Nidus Canal got killed, a lot of units were trapped down here, right? We're still waiting for this Nidus to reconnect. And it hasn't even started yet. He really needs to start that. Because there are so many units at the 6 o'clock that just can't do anything right now. So JAEDONG gonna go ahead and start to consume a few more lings. He gets that Nidus Canal started. Wow, he lost both Niduses again. That is so frustrating as a Zerg. I tell you what, that is crazy, crazy annoying. Almost running out of gas here at the third as well. Oh my goodness. Third base just about to run out of gas. That is crazy. Big plague on some of these Marines and the vessels as well. Finally, with that finishing up, he can now... Oh my god, is he gonna lose the Nidus again? No, the Nidus goes down again. That is insane. I can't believe he killed that Nidus for, what is that, a third time just to that one base? Unreal. Super, super annoying here, but JAEDONG gonna go ahead and take bottom right. He's gonna grab a couple of bases at the same time here and start to push forward through the middle of the map as well. Darkstorm goes down, but army coming from both sides here. I think this army's gonna get completely crushed. Beautiful surround here by JAEDONG, clearing out these tanks and taking dominance over this map now. It's gonna be up to Fantasy to defend all of his bases in the top right and the top left. He's got quite a few tanks and 2 factories here as well, so I think he may be able to hold on to this. But for how long? We don't have a Defiler, so maybe he can keep this alive for now. Oh, not having these sieged up is a big loss. He's gonna lose these Marines here. He needs to get the scan. More tanks are gonna pop out. They're gonna siege up right away. I think Fantasy holds on to this, but he may end up losing a lot of SCVs. SCV's gonna get pulled to the gas here. Tanks are gonna be sieged up there on low ground, so he's got a very nice defensive position. JAEDONG is about to run out of minerals here. Oh my goodness. I think he's just gonna have to transfer these back to the natural, which is actually way less mined out. You can see really how impactful the low money bases here on the map are. These bases really do not last for very long, but some longevity is going to be in the form of these bases down here at the bottom left. If those bases end up going up, I think Fantasy is going to have a real problem on his hands, so he'd love to get down there and deal with those ASAP. Science vessels are going to lead the charge here, try to come down and get some good irradiates on, but a force moving across the map right now is going to be a problem here for Fantasy. He can't exactly dive on top of this Defiler right now because the Hydras will shoot down nearly everything. A couple of lurkers over here. Okay, just one lurker at this position. Maybe another lurker over here. No lurkers over at this spot. We've got a couple of drop ships moving around the left-hand side. I think the Fantasy is going to wait until the appropriate moment to send those in. Picking off this lurker. Just going to get a couple of kills here. No big deal. Hydra's at the back here. Just kind of chilling, making sure that there's no base coming up at the 12 o'clock. But Fantasy really doesn't need one right now. Look at that. Look at that hit squad there of fire bats moving in formation, getting ready to take this fight. Oh, God, that plague. Holy crap, that was a great one. A juicy plague there. Looks like he's gonna lose the Defiler, but that's fine. Getting the plague on all of these Marines means these medics are gonna be completely drained of that energy. Coming up. Oh, he gets another great plague. Wow. Damn, that was an excellent plague here. 6 tanks in 1 plague. That is ridiculous. This lurker's gonna get so many kills. He's got a target. Oh, I don't think he can hit this. I actually don't think he can hit this. He's gonna... Oh, does he have a Dark Swarm? He needs a Dark Swarm here as well. No Dark Swarm there. Hydras are gonna run up and just gun all these down real quick. But a drop is coming in down to the bottom left. We've got a Lurker over here, but not a whole lot in a defensive position to keep this base alive. A Defiler makes his way down here, though. That should be enough. Dark Swarm, Lurker, easy peasy. He holds this off for now. Another Dark Swarm? He really needs another Dark Swarm here. Dark Swarm. Oh, it's a little bit late. Looks like a lot of the drones are going to end up going down at this base. But meanwhile, what else have we got on the map? Army moving through the middle, gonna head down towards the bottom left. Big army moving out from JAEDONG right now. He's cleared out the drones from this base. He's saturated now on these two bases at the bottom left. Running up on this. We've got no upgrades for these tanks, but they're sieging up just out of range here of these Hydras. Gonna start to bash them down. Ooh, a lot of these science vessels are very low. I think about 5 or 6 science vessels just went down there. Great targeting by JAEDONG. Just pick off as many of those as he can. There's still 2 more. And the great play goes down on the rest of these Marines as well. So much going on right now. These fights are insane. Both players staying pretty low in overall army supply. I say that, but now we're at 190 here for Fantasy. Sticking with the tank Marine play, which can be very strong. Wow. Are we at 8 drops? 8 drops? Holy crap. This is going to be a simply massive drop heading down towards the bottom left. Some Dark Swarm's going to go down here. A bunch of tanks going to be taken out right now because the Hydras are getting right up on top of this. Marines and medics can fight back against this pretty well, but not really defending the tanks fully. And the drop is now initiated down here at the bottom left, but Lurkers still in position from that earlier drop attempt are going to be able to clean up a lot of this. Lurkers running down from the base over here at the bottom right as well. Everything getting cleaned up. Yikes. Fantasy really not making any headway down here at the bottom left. He's not making any headway over here either, but you know, I'm actually not too pessimistic here for Fantasy right now. You know, he's got these bases up here. He can still mine for quite a bit of time. His army composition is not the worst. I wish he wouldn't have built this many dropships. I mean, this is just kind of ridiculous, honestly. That's way too many drops. We need more tanks, man. That's each of those dropships could have basically been a tank. That's an extra 100 gas. It is a little bit more minerals for a tank, but you get my my meaning here. Building that many is kind of crazy. Looks like some tanks are going to go down up here. We're finally got +1. Let's take a look at the upgrades for the Zerg 3-3. Everything is done. 0 claw attacks, though. That's a little bit rough. Melee attack has not been upgraded here for JAEDONG. So he's really not going to be able to do... Oh, that got a lot of kills. 9 kills on that Lurker. It's like quite a few went down over here, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. We still got 47 workers. Tons of free workers here right now. Whoa, I heard a drop go down. Might have been picked off over here. No, this drop down here. Oh my goodness. Drop landing on this high ground. Still not going to be able to make any headway right now. And the Marines, although they've had 3-3 for a while, now that the Hydras are matching them, they're doing very good trades against them. With the, especially when Defiler spells come out, it's very hard to trade against Lurker and Hydra with Marine Medic. Tanks are super necessary. He's gonna come forward once again. JAEDONG is ready to meet him. He's gonna throw down a irradiate here, and he targets with the tank. That's really what Fantasy needs to do right now, is target those Defilers down with the tanks, get rid of those Defilers before they can get the plagues off. Before, oh, this is gonna be a money plague. Money. Oh, goodness gracious. What a plague there. Nasty plague. Completely destroying these Marines now with the Hydras. Oh, one-shotting everything. Oh, absolute bloodbath here. The tanks and Marines will push forward a little bit further, but you know that they're on their last legs right now. This army is about to be cleaned up Huge forces coming from behind this. Another drop, though, going into the bottom left main. Holy crap, that's so many drop ships. But the lurkers, 2 lurkers here over top of the extractor, getting so many kills. This one has 13. This one's got 19 kills. Oh my goodness. Fantasy throwing this game away, I think, with these drops over and over again to the bottom left. JAEDONG just too prepared with the defilers, with the lurkers, constantly battering those away. And Fantasy has wasted so many resources trying to break into that position, when I think maybe he should have just let that be, let that go. Try to take another base here, maybe take the 12 o'clock or something else, because he's just not been making any headway in that location and throwing away masses of supply. Now, he doesn't have anything left on the map, and JAEDONG's going to be able to come up here and shut down this mining at the top right. He may even be able to get in here onto this base as well and shut down this production. It's like a plague went down on these reinforcing units. Tanks here on the low ground are going to get cleaned up. Hydras doing their work here, picking off a lot of these units. Oh man, Marines just fighting Hydras under Dark Swarm. Not a good look. He tried to get that Fire Bat underneath the Dark Swarm there. Just wasn't able to make it happen. Drop's gonna come down here. He can actually use the drops to secure this center left, maybe. That's actually a reasonable play. Looks like Defiler here is gonna finally go down, but more and more units are making their way up here to the top right. I don't think that Fantasy is gonna be able to hold on to this. A bunch of Hydras making their way over to this position as well. Only 3 Marines to push them away. And GG is finally called. Fantasy taps out. JAEDONG with the Hydraless Defiler play. So clutch there. Able to wrangle this one away from Fantasy. It felt like Fantasy was in a really good spot, honestly, but throwing away so many resources in those drops. Even making that many dropships is a bit questionable, but throwing them into the bottom left over and over and over again, definitely, you know, a questionable decision. Maybe going for the main instead would have been better, you know, split the drops, maybe send them into different locations, try to hit multiple spots at once. I don't know. But Fantasy seemed very intent on taking that bottom left, and JAEDONG just punished him brutally for it. Those 2 lurkers, man, god, those are MVP lurkers. Have so many kills on these. 13, 14, and 19 kills on those lurkers respectively. That is wild to me. Guys, this is our first game. We've got plenty more to come, so let's jump on into the next one. Now that is what I like to see. A crazy game between JAEDONG and Fantasy. They're not always going to end up like that, but that's one of those few gem games. Those few rare, kind of spectacular performances on both sides where we end up seeing sort of that crazy late game. And I'm a little bit shocked that we didn't see JAEDONG go into Ultra there, but he performed incredibly well with just Hydra, Defiler, Lurker play. And I honestly feel like that may be the future of what we're gonna see in Zerg versus Terran, you know, looking down the line, like 2025, 2030, something like that. How is Broodwar going to be played? I feel like it may be dominated in this matchup by Hydraless Defiler play, because it's just so good on basically any map. There's so many different ways to play. There's so many different avenues to get yourself back into the game, even if you're in a bad spot, even if you don't have all the gas that you completely need. I feel like there's still options, there's still opportunities for the Zerg player. And you know, JAEDONG, he had all the resources there. He had those 4 gas really early on, but those gases did wind up mining out pretty darn early, but he was still able to fight really well heads up against that ultimate composition from Fantasy, the Vessel, Tank, Marine, Medic, with some splattering of Fire Bats. still was able to take good fights against that, and it's very hard to do with just with just Ultra. You know, if you've got Ultra with a few Scourge splattered in there and then a bunch of Lings, they don't really trade that well against Tank Marine, man. Marine Tank, it holds on very, very well. Anyway, I've talked enough about that previous game. We've got Fantasy here at the bottom left now on Vermeer. Another cross map. A matchup here between these two players. And JAEDONG, he seemed to really like these 3-hatch plays throughout this entire series, but it's looking like he may do 2-hatch this game. I'm not 100% just yet, but it's kind of looking like a 2-hatch play for me. That'll be a significant change up here for JAEDONG if that is indeed the plan. It's not really going to play into his hands very well right now if he did decide to do that, because we are on cross map, and you know, 2-hatch Muta has its strengths, but one of them is not long game, you know, droning up into a late game situation. You really want to get that early damage done, and if you're on cross map, well, you can't really get there as quickly. Your rallies are going to be slower, your Mutas are going to get there slower, there's going to be more time for the Terran to prepare, and you're not going to have that, you know, 3-hatch larva production to kind of maneuver yourself into the mid and late game. So that's a little bit worrisome right now for JAEDONG. That's kind of where my head's at right now in this match. And Lings do pop out and deal with that SCV, but not before it spots the Spire and sees everything. Marines were out on the map kind of looking around for maybe an Overlord, a stray Overlord to catch, but didn't actually find anything. Overlord is here in a nice position. Just actually right in time, gonna spot Marines coming. If they were just walking across the map, he would have just enough time to run all his Lings to the front, maybe produce another round of whatever else he needed, at least get it into the egg so that it's ready after the Lings all die. Something else is going to be pumping out, but doesn't need to do that. He saw those Marines moving across the map but didn't overreact. He's only got 6 Lings here. He's managed to build up a pretty decent drone count. 1 drone for every patch here at the natural, 1 for every patch at the main. And his 3rd base is on the way. So this is pretty much the standard 2-hatch Muta with the earlier 3rd base. It's going to be coming out here. We'll see how JAEDONG decides to go about this. How is he going to, you know, what upgrade is he going to go for? It's going to be air attack, and where will he be targeting his Mutas? Is he going to go after SCVs? Is he going to go after Marines? Those are the next things that we're going to be watching out for. The response from Fantasy is that 4 racks play, and I'm definitely expecting a factory to come down here pretty darn early on. I don't see, where is it? Oh, it must be actually behind here. Yeah, there it is. The eBay is here. eBay and missile turrets have just now started. Really cutting it close here is Fantasy. Gonna get these turrets started just at the last possible moment. He's out in the front with his Marines to try and maybe catch these Mutas as they're flying in. Sometimes you can stand like somewhere over here, and right as the Mutas arrive, you can actually catch them and deal some damage to one of them, because a lot of the time the Zerg player is, you know, waiting for the rallies to get there before actually starting that micro, because the micro is very intensive. You want to kind of get things set up back at home. You get this extractor, you know, get a couple of overlords, get everything ready, and then start microing these Mutas, but not able to get any catches so far. The Mutas are playing it cautious here, waiting for more to arrive. Hasn't really dived in on anything yet thus far. Just kind of keeping tabs on these Marine Medic out in the front. 3rd gas is now operational. More Mutas being produced here. We're going to get up to that 11 for sure. We're going to watch this tab here to see when the Hydralisk Den does come down, or if it is going to come down at all. Maybe we could just flood the map with Lings here and try to take the game that way. Not 100% sure if that's what he wants to do. Factory is in production now. I think we're going to see a Valkyrie play out of Fantasy here once again. Some Lings are going to go for perhaps a counterattack. No, looking for some reinforcement units coming forward, but not going to find them. He was thinking about coming in for the flank. Not going to do that just yet. Finally going to dive in once, but he loses a Muta already. 2 Mutas are lost. Oh, no. JAEDONG. Not the greatest here. 3 Mutas have gone down already. Fantasy. Insane marine control here. Absolutely stellar. Turning on these Mutas every time they try to come in for an attack. He's going to come in once again. But I got to say, this is very hard to deal with, guys. The early +1 Marines from a 4-Rax play is so tough. It's very, very difficult to handle. Do we have an armory on the way here? No, we do not. Hydralisk Den, Queen's Nest is coming up here, so we do have that transition coming. Oh no, 1 Marine moves over here. He's gonna get 3 drone kills. Oh my god, 3 drones have gone down. These Mutas and Lings are sleeping right now. Not being sent forward. Finally get sent over there. 4 drones were killed by that 1 single Marine. That's so painful. That is so painful. Ooh. JAEDONG has got to be hurting right now. He's going to have to fight this. He doesn't have a choice. Lurker aspect has just begun. We're going to go in on this. How are we going to trade, though? That's going to be the question. Right before the extra Marines kind of arrive, they're on their way up here right now. He's got to make it happen. Right now, the Marines are about to arrive. There they are. They have arrived. So reinforcements are now here. Going to take some shots on these Marines. Not bad. Pretty decent getting on top of those naked Marines there without any medic support and kind of spread out in a line. So he actually killed quite a few of those. He did trade some Mutas though. Reducing this count is important, however. All right, Marines here gonna take some more damage, losing more Mutas though. And now finally gonna come through with all the Lings. Here we go, diving on top of this. Great targeting though from Fantasy. Targeting down as many Mutas as he can. Has managed to pick off quite a few of those, but all the Marine and Medic have been killed. This is a big win for JAEDONG. Winning that fight means that he's got complete map control now. He can do whatever he wants, which is going to be immediately Evolution Chamber. I love this decision. Going to get that +1 started right off the bat. As soon as he kills that army, going to be switching into that. He gets his Hive as well. I think that was started actually before that fight took place, so really good on JAEDONG to stay on top of all of this, making sure that he is getting all of his ducks in a row here, getting into his next stage of tech, because we do have these science vessels out. They do not have Irradiate just yet. We don't have any Scourge out here to potentially snipe them. The Ling number and Muta number is very, very low right now. A bunch of Mutas are gonna, or a bunch of Lurkers, excuse me, are gonna head over here, but this is a difficult to defend position. This is the problem with taking the base like this, is that you are gonna have quite a difficult time defending this location. He's got 4 Lurkers here. He's gonna need some Lurkers over here as well, which is a bare natural right now. 4 Scourge popping out. He will go for snipes on some of these vessels. Army's moving out right now. We do not have a factory here. Where is that factory? Oh, there it is. It's going on a mission, boys. This factory, I don't know where he's headed, but I guess maybe here or maybe here. I honestly don't know, but he wants to see everything. He's gonna go see the world. He's decided to, you know, take a year off and go on a vacation, you know. Oh my god, 2 Firebats running into the natural here. Both of them with D-Matrix are going to be able to kill all of these Lurkers. 4 Lurkers at the same time go down, and he's just going to bust straight on through. Fantasy. Damn, I really thought this was going to end up going long. You see this all the time, though, with Lurkers on top of a ramp in a stack that end up getting lit up by those Firebats with D-Matrix, but you rarely do you ever see it at the natural. However, this time, JAEDONG getting a bit greedy. He went for this natural early instead of going for the main. This can obfuscate your third base positioning a little bit on the map. It's kind of hard to scout that, but Fantasy, I mean, one Marine managed to make its way over here and scout that. He hits this timing where he's got those vessels. He's got the D-Matrix and the fire bats to run in there and knock down this third base very, very well for Fantasy. Firing back here once again in the series, keeping it close as we go on to our next game. All right, that was fun. That was fun. Get a little look at why Zerg can be one of the most easily tipped over races. It's very hard to break in and, you know, crack the Terran natural basically at any point in the game, unless you get a defiler with a bunch of lurkers right up in there. But that was a very swift breaking of the entrenched position of the Zerg by just a couple of D-Matrix Firebats, able to crack that open in seconds flat. Pretty nasty stuff. Really makes me want to play some Terran. Actually, I've been playing some Terran recently on the ladder. I did do a stream as well, if you guys want to check that out. I'll probably be streaming a little bit more here and there, but you know, nothing regular just yet. Not until I've got some personal matters out of the way. Look at this, more drones being added on. Wait a second. Oh boy. JAEDONG getting in here. He sees the wall in from Fantasy and he immediately adds on more drones. He went up to quite a bit of, like, he just kept making drones there without throwing down this pool until just now. So he's getting a pretty good economic advantage here and not having to make those right off the bat. And now gonna be chasing this SCV around. He's got full vision of the natural here. Now SCV's checked inside the main. He sees that there's no links being made and that pool is very late, so he's not gonna build this first Marine for quite some time. You can see he's just relaxing on that for now, making sure he can, you know, get everything else out. He's even gonna get another barracks here, I think. Oh boy, another barracks. So both guys just kind of one-upping each other and how much greed they can, like how many greedy steps can they take here and still get away with it. It seems like we're gonna have a 3-hatch play from JAEDONG this time. That's what it's looking like to me. The 2-hatch play did not look that powerful from him last game. I mean, he managed to kind of work it out and make it into the mid game barely, but I don't know. It didn't look that powerful from him. I definitely prefer to see him play 3-hatch. That seems to be what he's been practicing as of late. It's what he's done almost every game this series, and he is going to do it again this game. So that's good to see. On this map, however, this is a scary, scary map. For the fantasy push. The fantasy push is going to be very powerful here. It's not that far of a distance from this natural here to this natural here. It takes almost no time at all, and the fantasy push is going to be very, very scary. Now, we have to also mention the prevalence of mutas here. Oh, he's putting the Spire here in the natural. Don't know how I feel about that. This area right here is very difficult to defend against mutas, but this might actually even be worse now that I've kind of played this map a bit as Terran, and I've seen so many games on this map for Terran. It's like, this is a little bit harder to hit SCVs on. It's harder to micro the mutas in here and get kills, but putting the turrets in here is a nightmare because it's almost impossible to get them in here properly without really messing up the mining. So he's gonna try to get some turrets up here on time, make sure that he doesn't take any critical damage as he's moving out with his first group of Marines and medics. A couple of fire bats in production here. They're gonna be able to clog up that hole, make sure that the links don't try to run by. A couple of Sunkens are gonna come down here. You have to have these on the way before the Marines head out of the natural. Otherwise, they're not gonna be up in time on this map. So he does have that one Sunken. He's gonna rely on just one Sunken. This can be a pretty significant risk. If Fantasy beelines directly towards the natural and guns this down, you're not gonna have mutas in time to hold that off, but that's not what Fantasy's doing at all. He's backing away now. Third base is on the way for JAEDONG. He's going to be in a pretty reasonable position here, but I'm still scared for this Fantasy push. We have the 2 wrecks here. The factory is on the way. Everything is lining up for this. We should see a starport and then a armory coming down here momentarily. This factory should land and start producing those tanks if that is indeed what Fantasy wants to do. Look at that. The turrets are being put up here. 3 turrets in the mineral line. Pretty darn good. Spreading out everywhere are these lings from JAEDONG. He's making sure that nothing is going to sneak up on him here. Look at the spread. Making sure there's nothing out on that map that could, you know, backstab into his third base or something like that. Now that he's satisfied that there's nothing on the map, he's going to come in here with the first group of mutas. I hope we can see some better mutalist micro. Oh, boy. Caster's curse here, guys. The moment I say that, he almost loses his first mutalisk. That is rough. One of his first mutalisks, anyway. I'll fly in here, try to get a marine. Oh, God. JAEDONG. That's so sad. What's happening? What is happening to you, my friend? Flying in, gets 1 shot off, doesn't get the marine kill, takes a ton of damage, and backs away. That is wild to me. Lings try to come into the natural here. They're going to find nothing but masses of marines waiting for them. There's the land on the factory. Do we have an armory yet? We do have one. And I don't see the hydro stand. There it is. Right as I say that, hydro stand starts. So we know what we need to do here, I think, as JAEDONG. But is it going to be in time? A Valkyrie is just about to pop. That Valkyrie out on the map and those 4 barracks production to follow it up. This is going to be so tough for JAEDONG to hold on against. Gonna fly here towards the main. We don't have any tanks. No tanks just yet. That is something to mention. We're only on 1 gas. We've gone up to this 4 racks pretty darn fast. Oh, he misses the shot. Oh, twice he misses the shot. Oh my goodness. Oh, and he accidentally slides forward. Oh, JAEDONG gets the kill. Oh, okay. Okay, some mistakes were made, actually. I was starting to feel a little bit worried for JAEDONG there, but with those mistakes from Fantasy, his first Valkyrie going down, that's a big deal. There's the first tank being produced. More Marines are coming out here. There's this next Valkyrie. He missed 1 shot on that Valkyrie, so he takes 2 hits, but doesn't really deal that much damage, or it doesn't actually get the kill there. Sorry, he did deal a lot of damage, but a lot of damage back onto these mutas, and the mutas are going to all be forced away for now. Valkyrie's going to be repaired, and we're going to get to that 2 Valkyrie. Number 3 is when it really starts to get scary. At 3 Valkyries, things go south very, very quickly. So, you know, whatever moves that JAEDONG is going to try and make happen. Oh, he went for it. Scourge onto those Valkyries, but didn't manage to hit that. Whatever it is, he's got to get it going right now, and it's going to be some lurkers popping out here soon. Lurkers are really the counter to the Valkyrie play. If you're going for Valkyrie play, he's quick switching to lurker, does very well against that. That's what the tanks are for. Tanks are going to come out right after that. They're going to start to push things down as soon as he removes the mutalist threat from the map. As soon as those mutalists are forced to engage in one of these fights, then he's going to get rid of those, and then the tanks are going to come in and try to break through. This is the patented. This is the Fantasy push here, my brothers. We've got single tank production, single factory tank production. We've got single starport Valkyrie production. A big counterattack coming through. Fantasy has left quite a lot at home, though. Ready for this. He's pretty ready. Gonna stim up all these Marines and try to kill as many mutas as he can. Great targeting there on the mutas, dealing so much damage, killing a lot of these. Meanwhile, tanks setting up here in the natural. That was a great move to leave this many Marines back at home. Oh, he loses one of those Valkyries. That's super unfortunate. Pushing forward here, though. Oh my goodness, those tank shots, so clutch, killing so many of these. Lurkers just popping out of the eggs are gonna get gunned down immediately here. Looks like we don't have a scan. There it is. Scan comes down, and all of these are dead. Oh, lurkers coming up from behind, but it's not gonna be enough. JAEDONG taps out and Fantasy is victorious. My, what a series, guys. Quite a crazy end to this series. And I mean, I feel like this is the story of the whole series right here. Fantasy bringing out the Fantasy build and just crushing whenever he pulls it out. It seems so strong. I don't know why he doesn't do it every single game, but I guess that would get a little bit stale if you're doing that every single time. JAEDONG might find a counter to it, but it seems like there's almost no way to defeat this. Honestly, we killed the first Valkyrie. We had a pretty decent count of Muta. We got into the Lurker transition reasonably fast, but there really wasn't much JAEDONG could do. I mean, he got the Lurkers out, but tanks push through everything. The Valkyries push all the area units away, and he breaks through here. We needed those Defilers. Defilers were quite some time from completion. The mound was not even finished yet, so Fantasy pushes through there. It's been a close series overall, I'll say that. This is not a complete mash, but it felt like every time Fantasy did his build, seemed to really crush. I think this build is going to become meta breaking in this matchup in the future. I would be surprised if we didn't see more players pulling this out, trying it on, because it just does so well for Fantasy. Maybe he's just an enigma. I feel like that's how we always view these builds, these strong builds at first. It's like, oh, maybe he's just so good, he can make it work and no one else can. But eventually other people will figure out how that will work, and they'll be able to implement it into their own play and use it to a great effect. Guys, this has been an awesome series. Thank you for joining me on each and every part. Part 1 through 4, I think we're at right now. That's kind of crazy. This is all the games I have, though, of Fantasy versus JAEDONG. We're still going to be waiting for more. We're going to be watching intently for the return of Fantasy. When he comes back to the ladder, when another one of his IDs is revealed, we will be there. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are a fan of this man. Fantasy, incredible player. JAEDONG, absolute legend. It's been a pleasure, guys. I'll see you in the next video.